what we're going to be doing with the property. We've been developing a business plan and a development plan all this time, and we're finally ready to present our development plan. We're based in Miami, Florida, but we've been a corporate citizen of St. Petersburg since 2012. We bought an apartment building in the Kenwood Historic District. And then we started buying property around it, which was an abandoned office park. It's somewhat similar to Ceridian, not in that it's abandoned because Ceridian is still occupied. Matter of fact, Ceridian is still there, and they'll be leaving later this year. But what we, and I'll describe a little bit more about what we did in Kenwood because it's a good blueprint for what we plan to do here. So we specialize in apartment development. That's what we do all over the state of Florida. We've done some projects in Texas and Nevada as well. We do some commercial in limited circumstances, but mostly what we focus on is apartment projects. So if you're familiar with the historic, Kenwood district, there was an office park that had 4 buildings on it. Right between 31st, 33rd Street and 3rd Avenue and 5th Avenue North. This is where the office park used to be, and those are the original buildings. They were built in the 1960s. This is before the expressway came in, and 34th Street used to be the main street connecting St. Petersburg to Tampa. So what we did here is we bought this building first, and it was a failed condo conversion. And we kept it intact. No condos were ever sold, and we operated it as an apartment building. And then the opportunity came up to buy this office park, which surrounded that building, that 12-story building, which was also built in the 1960s. Oh, perfect. So this is about 12 acres, a little bit over 12 acres of property here. And what we did is after we renovated this and stabilized it and we proved out that people wanted to live in areas a little bit further out from downtown, we bought all of these buildings, which were mostly vacant. There was only one tenant in one building, which was Metro Communities. You may be familiar with them. They're very active in St. Petersburg with a series of clinics and services that they offer. And what we did with the leadership at Metro Communities is that we got them out of this building and we got them into this building, and they turned this into their headquarters, about a little bit over 42,000 square feet. So it's an entire acre under AC. And they moved their headquarters into there. We ultimately made a deal to give them this property to convey it to them, and then we developed the balance of it. So what we did is that we converted these 6-story office buildings from the 1960s into residential lofts with 12-foot ceilings. It turned out to be a very popular product. People loved it, and we were able to move people in quickly. What was going on at the same time that we were doing that is that we had a transitioning neighborhood. Many of you may be familiar with the Mosley Motel. This used to be a very problematic property, which was right across the street from a large-scale project that we were putting together here. So this was being foreclosed on by a bank. So we bought the loan from that bank, and we ultimately finished that foreclosure, and we were able to get control of this property. We were getting 2 to 3 police calls a day here, and it was, every part of the criminal code was being violated. I mean, drugs, prostitution, guns, physical violence. Yeah. It wasn't boring, I'll tell you that. It wasn't boring. But it definitely was not conducive to the kind of community that we were trying to develop here for people to live and feel safe in. So we ended up converting, we demolished it, and we converted it into a storage project, which really served a lot of our tenants here. And it ended up being a very successful venture in terms of it was addition by subtraction, because we got rid of a really bad element that was negatively affecting the whole neighborhood. So the net effect is that we had a very positive influence on cleaning up the neighborhood and really increasing all the property values around us. And so much so that 2 new buildings sprung up as we were in the middle of our redevelopment of this entire area, right across the street from us. So these are the 2 office buildings that we converted. This is the original way in which we found them. These are 1960s construction. This was a waffle slab, a cement waffle slab, for those of you that are familiar with construction. And this was a steel beam frame building. And we converted it to this and to this. So we preserved some of these original diamonds from the 1960s. We worked that into our design. And we were able to deliver a very nice finished product with 12-foot ceilings, very well received by the community. In addition, we built a ground up, brand new 3-story product here and a 4-story product here. The entire project was surface parked, and it was a big upgrade to what used to be an abandoned office park that was full of criminal activity, frankly, and some of it had become like a crack house element. People were breaking in through the windows, and it just wasn't a good situation. So all of the neighbors around us, we collaborated with them in many ways. So the ASPCA was next to us. We made an arrangement with them because we had over 50% pet owners in our project. So there was a lot of synergy between us and them. It wasn't, I'm sorry?
I say, that's 31st Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
31st.
31st is here.
31st Street North.
30, this is north.
We're further over.
This is 31st Street North. No, I'm just referencing the other project that we did.
Okay.
This is where this project was, and then this is where we are here. You guys are here.
Yeah, I get it.
So this is what we did a little bit north of us.
Yeah.
Just giving you by way of example, and also to show that we've been doing what we're doing in St. Pete for over a decade.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, we've had a great relationship with the city of St. Petersburg. We had a great relationship with our neighbors. The Urban League was across the street, the ASPCA, all of the neighborhood associations. The historic Kenwood District was very supportive, and we had a great collaborative relationship with them. We did some events together. We hosted their meetings for them to meet in some of our public spaces, and it was a very positive thing. We ended up exiting this project in 2021. We started in 2012, and we were able to fill it up, stabilize it, make everything look like our original vision. And we sold it to another group which is managing it now and doing a great job. And basically, what we do is that we cater to the demographics that we see that are underserved in St. Petersburg. You know, there's a lot of very expensive projects that are going up on Central Avenue, and they're 40 stories tall and whatnot. We're targeting a market that is drawn to the areas outside of downtown St. Pete, which is the reason that we invested into the Ceridian property. So this came available right at the time that we were finishing up the other project in the Kenwood district. So we kind of transitioned from that because we wanted to keep a presence in St. Pete. We love the demographics. The demographics have only been improving. You've probably noticed after COVID, a lot of people started moving here. From the Northeast, from other parts of Florida, from the Southeast, and Chicago, actually. There's been a good influence from Illinois. A lot of people are leaving the high-tax states. We're a no-income tax state. It's a very attractive dynamic for a lot of people. So we kind of wanted to share with our neighbors what we're planning to do with this property. This is a 34-acre property. So this is a very large property. And it's mostly vacant. There's about 5 tenants occupying, you know, maybe a third of the space right now. It's 360,000 square feet of office space in the current buildings area. And we'll be repurposing, two of the buildings, and then we're gonna be demolishing these portions of the building. And we're gonna be building what I'm going to show you next. So this is a top-down view of the site plan for the 34 acres. So around the perimeter, we're building multifamily, same thing that we did in the Kenwood district. And in the middle, as a focal point, we're gonna have a substantial retail component, which we're gonna build at the front end of the project. So this is a grocery store, which is a well-known name, high-end grocery store. We're substantially far along in the negotiations with them, so that this will be in the first phase of our intended development. And then we're gonna have an out parcel here, which is kind of ideally suited for restaurant, wine bar, coffee shop, you know, that kind of thing. There's about 4,500 square feet here. And then on the ground floor of the northern apartment building, we're gonna have more retail, which is also suited for neighborhood retail. So this will be, and this is not gonna be a gated community, it's gonna be open. So it's been designed to actively interact with the community around it. And obviously, when you're gonna have a meaningful retail component, it's intended to be open to the public. So the main points of ingress and egress for the entire project are gonna be here and here, right off of 34th Street. This is 34th here. So we're gonna have a left turn lane here. And then obviously, you can go right or left, you know, from this entrance, and you can go right on this entrance. So as you can see, we designed it with kind of an open concept. It's got a lot of separation from the street, and it's got a lot of green. So if you look at what we did in the Kenwood district, we added a lot of landscaping, a lot of green, a lot of campus feel to it. So we're going with a low intensity development. These are 5-story buildings. So all the way around, we're only going to 5 stories. The St. Petersburg Code allows us to go higher than that, but we don't want to do that. We want to keep it kind of more in context with the neighborhood around it. So that's why we're doing that. We're gonna maintain this 9-story building because it's there, but we're gonna turn it into an amenity building. So there'll be a sky lounge at the top, and there's gonna be a 2-story gym, a floor dedicated to pets. Yeah.
Where's our entrance compared to that right there?
Where's what?
Our entrance to the parking lot.
You're back here. Yeah, you're on the back side of this.
Will you have that backside road closed off so people won't come down 37th as much as they are, you know, for the other apartment? Can you close off that backside where they're coming in, a gated area?
Here?
On your backside at 37, can you close it?
No, well, we're not intending to close it, but it doesn't really make sense for people to traffic 37th.
Yeah, they like 37 because it's less traffic. And we get all that noise and actually getting out of our apartments, we have to wait and wait. People are coming back and forth on that street more and more.
Well, I think you're probably seeing people that are using this to get from
Yeah.
point A to point
They're
B.
getting to the new
But-
apartments, yeah.
Yeah, but what we have designed here is for them to come in and out
Yeah.
through here, and we're putting a light in here. We've already discussed with the Department of
I
Transportation.
understand that's a better way, but they will find our exit there. They'll find it. There's nothing. Oh, they can close that right off.
Complete and how many people will be
Into that
occupying?
apartment building? You don't want to close it. You want to-
I mean, it's hard to tell how many people there are, but we've got about just over 300 units per building.
Where's that traffic light gonna
Si-
be?
Right on the corner of 30th and 34th. Yeah.
What's the answer?
I'm sorry?
How many people, how many units, you'll have 300 units per building?
Yeah, we have 6 phases.
6 buildings?
6 buildings.
6 times
So, yeah. Each of these is a multifamily building. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then retail is concentrated here.
How many apartments is this? 300.
Ingress egress is off of 34th Street.
Yeah, right.
Our main concern over here is how much is, that traffic should be flowing to 37th Street. That's our main concern.
It's got
Now, you're saying, you're trying to avoid that whole question on saying, well, it's not gonna be that much. Well, if that's gonna be a main ingress egress for your main, for the commercial part, residents are gonna be coming off 37th. Now, we're already seeing an influx right now of traffic that we have with the new developments they have down here. But lucky they have the ingress egress off the side streets and 34th. Why are you guys planning on putting 2 ingress egresses into our street at 37th?
Because the
With
city,
1,800 units.
because the city wants connectivity through the property.
The city has nothing, you're the one that applied for the permits.
No, but the city wants ingress and egress points, which is why we provided 2 here, 2 here, 2 here.
Did the city require you to put them on 37?
They asked us to.
They asked you to.
They asked us to have the connectivity on 3 sides because we can't have it on the Walmart side.
Right, because Walmart has no ingress egress out of here, out of 37.
Can you arrange for a street light for us to get in and out of our? Yeah, it's very hard to get in and out, like 7 AM if you're going to work, everybody else is coming in and out at that time.
Yeah.
At 5 o'clock, it's bumper to bumper, and they love our street.
I mean, I don't know what it would take to get a street light there. It's something to discuss with the city. It's not something we control because it's not on our property.
You can't arrange it.
No, I can't deliver a street light.
So if I call the city and ask them
You
for
have a lot of pool in the
that
city.
they're the ones that decided on this ingress egress on 37, they're gonna say they did, not you.
Yeah. You
Not-
can't,
Your
you
original
can't,
plans not were submitted, were your original plans submitted that you had ingress egress on 37 or not?
we don't have original plans that were submitted. We've sat down with the city and we've developed this development plan over a series of meetings that have taken about a year. And amongst other things, they require certain ingress and egress just on fire. Forget the other departments. The engineering department, the other
Right.
departments also have their own requirements, but fire wants a clear way to get in and out on both sides. So that's, we don't really control that. And honestly, we would never develop this with no connection to 37. On the contrary, you need it for fire, but besides that, it's what makes the most sense. Because this is the Pinellas Trail right here, so we're connecting to that from a biking and running standpoint to begin with. But on top of that, we need to have connectivity on 3 sides, and we can't have connectivity on a 4th side. If we could put it on the 4th side, we would, but we can't because this is all the Walmart property right here.
Okay, during the time you're building, can you prevent the trucks from coming in to that area? Can they come in on 34th, the trucks?
Yeah, the trucks will come from 34th, and one of the things that you do with the city when you build is that you do what's called the traffic management plan. And you collaborate with them in not only how they're gonna come in and out, but also where you're gonna put them when they come onto the property, right? So we're gonna have a staging plan, so while we're building these, we're gonna use the ones that are empty. So they're not gonna be thrown all over the neighborhood. We're gonna accommodate them within our own property while we build. Yeah.
The 2 access points on 37,
Mhm.
are you gonna use the entrances that are there now, or will they be moved?
They're gonna be reconfigured. It's gonna look a lot like it is, the
Basically
dimensionality,
in the same spot.
close to it.
They're spread out a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna be
Right now-
reconfigured a little bit, but they're gonna look very similar.
Because our entrance and exit is kind of in between those 2 points.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wanted to give you a little bit of a look and feel with some of the renderings in terms of how this is going to have that campus feel that I was talking about. And it's gonna be similar to the other property that we developed. So we have a lot of green spaces, a lot of separation between buildings. Like I said, it's only gonna go 5 stories along the perimeter. So it's a very low intensity development compared to a lot of what's going on in St. Pete. And even in the Skyway Marina District, there's been a lot taller buildings that have been built. We wanted to limit it to 5 stories along the entire perimeter. So we're gonna have these boulevards that are gonna be very inviting for our retail from 34th Street, lined with landscaping, lined with separation, and it's all of its own parking. So we're gonna have excess parking that we are gonna build because of the apartments and the retail. So we're gonna be able to self-contain all the parking within our own property, so we're not gonna have any spillover to the side streets. And we're not intending to use any city streets for parking. Everything is gonna be contained within our own property.
How about, water sewer? How is that, are you responsible for your own sewer treatment, or does that look into one already established?
No, so there's a new water treatment facility for sewer water. And we have more than enough capacity in the district for our project. We already cleared that with the city. So we're tapping into the sewer system.
That line was upgraded already throughout the years, and because it was already upgraded, it will be our responsibility to have to upgrade it, so we have to set funds aside for the city to have money in case it needs to be upgraded at some other point for someone else.
Right.
What's the population statistics going to be for that? In other words, HUD or low income, high income, middle income, affordable, what's the?
It's gonna be more middle income.
More middle
Yeah,
income?
it's not low. Usually low income projects are subsidized. That's how they're able to afford them. We don't have any subsidies here. We're doing all this with,
So it'd be pretty much middle.
yeah. Yeah, we wanna be middle market. What we wanna do is we wanna serve the demographic that finds the Central Avenue, high-rise buildings too expensive,
Okay.
but without going into affordable, which requires government subsidies and that kind of thing. And we're not, that's not the kind of developer that we are. We've never done in all this. Yeah.
How long is it gonna take to complete? 4 years, 5 years?
The whole thing?
Yeah,
What was the question, what was the comment you made earlier?
because I'll be dead by then. I won't have to worry about the traffic.
No, this will be about, total 7 to 8 years.
Oh, good, okay, thank you. That'll make me 90, I'm ready.
So, just to show you a few more of the renderings,
It looks nice.
this is gonna be the look and feel. This is the retail over here. This is gonna be the view on 37th Street, right here. So we have a lot of pedestrian walkways because our intention is to have connectivity on all the sides that we can to the public rights of way. And as I was mentioning, this is the Pinellas Trail over here, which goes from down here in southern Pinellas all the way to Pasco County. And there are people that do bike that distance.
Is that slide you just had up there, is that 31st and 30th? Is that what we're gonna see for a view?
That is,
37 and 30.
Right, so that's what we'll be looking at.
Yep.
On the backside.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, so
this is, sorry, this is, I think this is the entrance around here to your community.
Yeah, so this is a view of what the 37th Street side will look like. So, we're separating from the Pinellas Trail, and we're providing our own sidewalk, to kind of have pedestrian access from the north to the south, the entire length of our property.
I just wanted you to reiterate something. You said the construction is pretty much gonna be confined in the complex, it shouldn't bother us in our complex, the noise and.
No, that's actually one of the things that the city requires, is that we're able to accommodate all of the construction trucks and the storage of materials and all of that on site.
And the exit will be on 34th, the trucks with the dirt will be going the other direction,
Right.
not on 37.
Yeah, the dirt is only gonna happen at one phase, which is when we fill the land. Because you need to raise the land a little bit
But
because of
you're still
flood.
reconstructing some of those buildings, you have to haul that building material and stuff.
Yeah, but that doesn't require dirt. So we'll just be bringing in, these are gonna be wood frame buildings.
You don't have as many concrete trucks as what you're thinking.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
No, it's not like the construction types in downtown.
Right.
It's not like that. It's stick, it's wood.
Yeah,
Okay, 5 stories, right?
yes, ma'am.
And it's gonna be 34th Street, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna be further on 34th Street instead of in the back
The
here.
shopping area.
Yeah, so if you,
Otherwise, that's gonna affect us.
yeah. So as I was saying, when we were looking at that slide, we're separating from 37 and the Pinellas Trail, which runs along 37.
And the traffic gonna be humongous.
Shouldn't be humongous on 37.
Yeah, so are you gonna be opening up the other gates on the other side of the, on the other side of the street?
On 34th Street and on 30th Avenue. Yeah.
On 30th too?
Yeah. We've got two entrances and exits on 30th Avenue and two on 34th Street.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And not 37.
Yeah, we do have ingress and egress on 37 as well.
Yeah, okay. Are you gonna have time periods? No?
Time period?
In other words, what I'm saying, like, the gate is open like from 8 to 12 and it's closed.
Well, we're not gonna be a gated community. Yeah.
It's gonna be continuously open.
Yeah.
See, and that's, yeah, that's gonna affect us really bad. I do believe that. I do believe that from my heart. Guys, try to get us time period in there, okay? I appreciate it.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can we please let one person ask a question and Frank will answer, and then another one will ask a question. There's so much noise that we cannot even hear the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sure you've done studies and demographics on the possibility of being able to sell that many units, because it's just a lot of apartments that are going up, and some of them are already up, and they don't even look like fields. So I'm like, you're talking about 6 buildings with 300 units in each one. That's a lot of, that's
Yeah, but
a lot.
it's over an 8-year period or so. So we firmly believe that the people that will be renting over that period of time will be really,
And they're not for sale.
no, it's not for sale, it's for rent.
No, for rent,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
there's apartments just down the street that aren't 100% capacity.
About 95.
So it's just like a lot of, just seems like a lot of apartments.
And only about this, a lot of people.
Again, just to confirm, for the most part, what you're saying is that the retail, all that shopping and all that stuff is more to the front. At 37 should be almost all residential.
Yeah,
Okay, that's what I wanted to
yeah,
confirm.
the retail is concentrated on 34th.
All that's up there.
Which, if you think about it, it makes sense, right? That's the most trafficked street in all of Pinellas County, so we want to be on 34th. And we wanna encourage the left in, left out, right in, right out, you know.
Right. So when we look out of our places, we're gonna see that's gonna be apartments, buildings, it's gonna be
Yeah.
residential.
Yeah, that's the rendering we showed you here,
Yeah.
Are any of those units gonna be for resale or is it all apartments?
all apartments.
Will you have siding on the wood?
So,
Vinyl siding or something to protect the wood?
well, the wood is protected, it's treated before it's used in the construction, it's not just random wood. So it's fire treated and it's treated, to prevent
For weather?
termite, yeah. No, on top of that, we apply, waterproofing on the exterior so that you don't have water penetration.
You know, the stuff where you're putting on.
In some cases.
Combination of stucco and siding.
Where is the parking for all the apartments?
So if you go to the top-down view,
No one helps you.
okay, so you see this? That's multi-level parking. So every building has its own parking within it.
And where do they come out in those two, where is the entrance and exits for those parking decks?
Right here is one.
Yeah, that one block.
So each one has its own entrance and it's standalone, so that building only uses that parking structure. And then for the retail, we have surface parking here, right? Because the grocer wants parking in front. Doesn't make as much sense to have people going to a parking structure with, grocery carts.
What's the square footage of retail?
45,000 square feet.
The entrances are already
What
on
was that
30th.
question?
The square footage of retail, 45,000. Yeah.
The entrances are already there on 30th. There's two entrances out there already.
They're already there.
Yes,
So there's
just,
no difference.
Most of the
Correct, yes.
all of the entrances that we have are existing entrances now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You have a view of the back of side H, that's opposite our gate.
Yeah.
I don't have it. It would be somewhere around here.
Yeah.
Which is the same as this. It's a mirror image.
You know the name of the grocery store, who's coming in?
We're under a confidentiality agreement right now. Yeah, it's upscale. It's not Aldi and it's not a low end grocery. It's a higher end grocery.
I have a question about 37th Street. Is it gonna remain the way it is, or is there any intention to change that street and make it more than what it is now? Just one lane in each direction?
We don't control that street. That would be up to the city of St. Petersburg. So we don't have any plan to touch 37th because we don't own it and we can't even if we wanted to.
But if the city feels a need to
Yeah.
expand that street.
Well,
at
what the
some
city
point,
does is that they periodically do a traffic count of all streets, and when they reach a certain, and they grade them, right, they're like A, B, C, D. When they reach a certain saturation, then they amplify them.
So they would eat away on our end, not with the playground.
So I wanna just make a statement
I
on
don't know about
that, on the road, so the people that travel on 37th are only going to travel on 37th if they're not in a rush to get somewhere. Because we have one lane that goes in one direction and another lane that goes in the other. So the truth is, if there's gonna be all those people living there, they're probably more often than not gonna be traveling on 34th Street because that can handle a lot more traffic and there's traffic lights that help to direct the traffic. So it's just something that we should all keep in mind because we will have some increased traffic on 37th, but I don't think the bulk of it is gonna be on 37th.
I'm expecting to be increased traffic on 37th.
Yeah,
I'm
but
just
there'll be
waiting-
less.
Will they expand that to a 4-lane road instead of a 2?
That's the city, you never know.
Yeah, you don't know what the city's gonna do, but just keep in mind that anyone that's trying to get anywhere quickly is going to travel on 34th Street because the road is really set up to accommodate that, and 37th really is.
34th on this stretch is a 6-lane,
Right.
is a 6-lane road. I don't know why you wouldn't take 34th. if you want to get something.
Kind of on the 37th Street, kind of in that same vein, have you been asked to give up any easements on the Ceridian property for the road or for any more trailing or anything?
No.
There's a big right of way.
What was the question?
There's an existing right of way.
Yes, but you haven't been asked to give up more your property.
No. No. There's an existing right of way that has greater capacity. It's already there. But they've not asked us for anything on the actual property that we own.
So these renderings that we're seeing, are they just like friendly sketches that are not accepted yet, or is this exactly the way it's gonna be?
This is what we're submitting
And the
as the
city
final
has sat
development
down
plan.
with you to go over
Well, we've developed in collaboration with the city. Now we gotta go through the process. We gotta get a building permit. We gotta do all of that. But we've had this discussion going on a year now, with the city back and forth about different issues. Some of which are visible, some of which are subterranean, some, you know, it's a lot of collaboration and coordinating with all the different departments within, the city and in some cases, the county and the state. Like Florida Department of Transportation is a state agency. All the discussion about the street light and what goes on these points of ingress and egress, that's Florida DOT.
And environmental?
Yeah, we have to do environmental,
Okay.
yeah.
What phases, what buildings will be started, the first phase or?
The 34th Street side,
34.
yeah.
And then, so
Yeah.
the two buildings and the shopping center?
So we'll start with one building and the shopping center and then jump to the second building on 34th. So that the first three will be the three along 34th.
That'll be the shopping area.
To mitigate that traffic, are they gonna require you to put a turn lane in there?
We did get a turn lane here.
In front of your ingress egress of 34th, are they gonna require you to put a turn lane in?
We got this turn lane, which doesn't exist now, which is a left
Yes.
in, yeah. That was discussed with Florida's Department of
So there's three
Transportation.
lanes in there.
2 lanes?
3.
There's only two now, but they'd have to have a turn lane, it'd have to be 3 lanes.
There's already space for it
Yeah.
in the middle.
And what?
There's already space.
Yeah,
Come
right now it's a
on,
median, right now it's a median. There's a median here.
There's no center lane in ours, there's no, separation in ours, it's straight.
No, this is 34, this is 34th.
That's what I'm talking about. Oh, I'm talking about 37, I'm talking about 37.
No, I'm talking about, no, this is 34th. This is 34th.
Okay, I'm talking about 37.
Yeah,
Aren't they gonna require you to put a turn lane in there?
a turn lane where?
For your ingress egress out of here, where all these people are gonna be coming out, because I'll be honest with you, I've been in this business for 50 years. I've taken a lot of looks at developers and how they, even when a city or county comes in, they require a lot of turn lanes, traffic count, like you said. There's no turn lanes that I can see on 37th Street, where all that traffic's gonna be coming out.
Where would it, no. Well, go to the other side.
Yeah, so you don't have, so all that traffic that's gonna be coming out of there, out of your development, there's no turn lanes in there for where they're getting in, ingress, egress, and our ingress, egress. There's not gonna be a turn lane. So traffic's gonna be back, somebody wants to turn left, going north, on, let's say, our development. They're gonna be backed up. Anybody behind them will be backed up,
No, but you,
because of the traffic.
if somebody wants to turn left coming out of your development?
Or yours, either one, if somebody wants to
Well,
take ingress into.
no, if they wanna turn left, they can't turn until they leave our property.
Even if they're gonna ingress, egress out of yours, either going left, if they're gonna turn left going into it, going south, it's gonna be the same problem. There's gonna be back.
No, but the stacking that you're describing would occur within our own property.
Excuse me, and what we gonna do about the school bus? We have a school bus, right outside there. They stop right out there, and that's gonna hold up the traffic. Make it longer.
But we don't control the school bus.
Well, I know you don't control the school bus, but you have to put that in your consideration, that when you, that the school bus do stop out there.
Oh, excuse me. He's talking
So-
some place,
So for,
I understand that you don't control it.
no, but for a lot of those reasons, the
But I'm just saying,
incentive,
if you thought about that in your plan.
well, what we thought about is directing the traffic toward 34th and toward 30th because we're putting this light in. So if a school bus is backing up traffic here, then even our own residents are not gonna wanna go to 37. They're gonna wanna go to this light where they can turn left, or they're gonna come here where they can turn right.
And
And go
Frank,
south on 34th.
the city is making us do this turn lane.
Okay. Let's see how you work.
The question was asked about lights on 37. Is there gonna be lights near our, where we come in and out and go back to egress? No
Well,
lights?
as I was saying to the person that asked, we don't control lights on 37. There's nothing we can do about putting lights on 37. That would be a city of St. Petersburg issue.
So if we have an issue getting out, we gotta commission or petition
Yeah, because they control that intersection, we don't. Yeah.
It looks to me like 35th Street on your drawing, will be taking a lot of the traffic because people wanna go up to 30th and hit the stoplight and go left or right. And the same thing with 36, so that's gonna alleviate a lot of the people from your development coming out to 34.
Well, that's the way it was designed.
That's the way you planned it,
It's
right.
designed to push traffic
Right.
toward the 6-lane highway, and then the street that has the light, if people, and that's gonna be mainly for people that wanna go
Right.
north, right? Because if you wanna go south, why would you wanna mess with this? You just come here and hang a right.
Well, because there's a lot of traffic coming down, even with your turn lane, it's hard to get out to
Yes.
34.
Yes.
So, at the traffic is the safest place to get out.
Well, yeah, if you want certainty and a light, then you go to 30th.
And they even made us, if you see here, there's a small jog.
Yeah.
They even made us make that wider, so there's a turn for going left to north and right to south.
Yeah, there we widened the road and added a turn lane. Right here,
So
to facilitate,
the big win is the light.
Exactly.
Yeah, that is a win.
yeah.
That is a win.
Yeah, well, listen, we wanna make it as easy for the people, you know, that are gonna occupy this to get in and out. So that's the reason that we had this left turn-in lane put in and this light approved by DOT.
This light here, which is the Walmart light, I think the car washes around here. This area is gonna be also redesigned to accommodate more cars for people who wanna go north and make a U-turn. And that's all been allowed by FDOT.
Yeah.
So it doesn't all have to go through the light to go north.
Frank, would you be willing in your firm to consider redeveloping our entrance and exit to our condo to accommodate our people to go south or north, all right, as a result of additional traffic here?
I'm not sure how we would do that, because to do that, you really have to do work on the public road, right of way, which we don't control. And you don't control. That's really a city of St. Pete issue. So if you wanted to widen that road and create extra lanes, to be able to have more turning lanes, that's a public right of way project for the city of St. Pete.
We have one lane coming in, one lane going out. You might consider, right, helping us, right, to ease that traffic by maybe developing 2 lanes going in and 2 lanes coming out of West Shore Village.
On the West Shore Village.
Going out our gate through the guardhouse onto 37th Street. Just an idea.
We haven't looked at it. Go ahead.
So, our entrance and exit, right, is, let's just say 20 or 30 feet, down the road from where your entrance and exit is from yours. And that's gonna cause a little bit of a problem for drivers, right, coming in and out of both locations. So is there any thought about at least maybe trying to put them directly across from each other, or making any changes? If you understand what I'm saying.
I do, but this goes further to the point of how we design the intended traffic flow, because if the condition that you're describing exists in terms of a conflict, it's even more incentive for people to go to 34th and go to 30th. They don't wanna deal with 37th. There's not gonna be a light there. So they're not gonna wanna have that potential conflict, right? I mean, it's just like the law of incentive. Why would they do that? There seems to be an assumption that there's a desire for a lot of people to go to 37th. I don't understand where that comes from, because why would they wanna go to 37th when they have a 6-lane road here?
It's shorter.
Shorter to where?
Shorter to get to 22nd Avenue North or south.
How can it be faster than 34th?
Have you ever traveled it?
Yeah,
Have you traveled it from here?
just today we did.
Okay, have you gone north on 37th and 22nd Avenue south? Or have you gone to the beaches?
I have not gone to the beach, I have not gone to the beaches, but I just don't see how it's faster than 34th.
If you go out here, you'll see,
We have encircled it down.
Using it, absolutely right.
They're only doing it because it's easier.
We don't have traffic lights.
Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
When we look at the concurrency numbers, there's more capacity on 34th Street than any other street in this area. The northern side. Yeah, that's the 30th Avenue side.
That's what avenue?
30th Avenue?
30th?
Yeah, 30th Avenue.
Pretty similar to
Northern
this,
side.
but
So it doesn't go all the way to 22nd?
That's 30th right there.
This is 30th. Right here. This is 37.
Isn't that the same concrete, the white, concrete that was put down the last year?
Yes,
You aren't changing that at all?
you can't.
This?
You,
That's a trail, that's a new trail. That one was
the
just
trail.
put in.
You're talking about this?
You're keeping that trail the
Yeah.
same way it is?
Yeah, well, we don't control
You
it.
did mention earlier that you were gonna, because of you were gonna push the buildings back and raise them up.
Yeah, but only within our property.
Okay, so how
We're
high
not
are
touching
you-
anything else.
How much higher are you gonna raise it?
What's going to
Okay,
be that?
existing elevation.
A couple feet.
Only 2 feet?
Yeah, but we only do it, and modern development only does it based on whatever the floodplain
Right, I
elevations are.
understand.
What uses are those buildings? Are those residential?
Yeah, apartment.
Apartments? Middle income apartments?
Yeah. So we've designed an entire stormwater system that captures all stormwater on site. We're gonna have a subterranean vaulting system. So there's no runoff, we're not allowed to have runoff to the streets adjacent to us. That's one of the city requirements, actually.
Is this plan finalized from the point of view of the city, or will the city be looking for comments from the neighboring communities?
I don't know if they'll be looking for comments. We're not asking for variances, we're not asking for concessions. We're doing what's allowed by,
I realize
by
you
the
may
current
not be asking,
zoning.
I'm asking whether there's a process in place for this kind of development where the city would ask the nearby residents to comment on the plans for this development.
They may, I mean, there will be hearings at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can go down to the city and say your piece for 2 minutes.
yeah.
Interested.
Three or two now?
Oh, is it 2?
I think it's two now.
So these apartments, they're gonna, how many is gonna be 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, what's the largest? Is it 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom?
The largest is 3.
3?
Yeah.
Can you divulge with us what they're gonna rent for?
I mean, whatever the market dictates at the time, but, you know, it's gonna be substantially less than Central Avenue. And we're trying to hit that middle income. So,
But we're hearing out here now, these new ones are 1,800 for 1 bedrooms
yeah,
and 20-something hundred, 2,400 for 2%.
yeah, that sounds about right. We're gonna fall in line with what the rest of the buildings are doing, because that's gonna be what the market dictates, right? We'll be controlled by what the surrounding projects are renting for as well. What we know for sure is that we're not projecting Central Avenue rents, because,
nor affordable.
nor are we projecting affordable, because we're not getting subsidized, so we can't really hit that price point.
Construction. I know you said most of the trucks will be coming in on 34th.
Mhm.
On 37th though, will there be trucks? And I'm concerned about like nails and screws on the street, how will you control that?
Well, that's part of the traffic plan that I mentioned to you, that we have to enter into with the city of St. Petersburg. And that's part of the discussion of the ingress, egress, and where we stage everything, and the fact that we're doing it on site. So we're not storing any materials or putting anything off-site, or on any of the public rights of way.
And when you pull a permit for that, they make you create all these mechanisms so nothing goes on the site, like trash, dirt, nails, and they gotta be cleaning, and we're all responsible for that. That way it just doesn't impact you guys.
And that's a requirement of the city of St. Pete for new construction.
Looking at your map, I see you've got 6 units. Now, only 3 of them have pools, right? 1,
Well,
Yes.
okay, so this is a central,
okay.
amenity area, so this will be a larger pool than, these aren't necessarily to scale, but this central amenity area is gonna service these 4 buildings.
Okay.
It'll be a resort style pool in here.
So what about the other 2 areas? They have their own?
Yeah,
So will that dictate a difference in rental price, and what size units are you talking, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom?
we're gonna have 1s, 2s, and 3s. Yeah.
Is Cardinal Avenue directly opposite our entrance exit?
No.
In the center. Right there.
I think you're here.
Up center.
What's the question?
We're actually widening these 2 versus where they are now. They're here now. We're gonna put them a little bit further apart than they are right now.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are you, extending this courteous presentation to other developments in the area, like the ones on the other side of 34th Street as well?
Yeah, we're meeting with all of our neighbors
Okay.
to just kind of bring them into the fold. Same thing we did in the Kenwood district. We just want to share what our vision is for what we're gonna do on this property.
So have you had some already?
Well, we met with the Skyway Marina District. We're meeting with you now. We're meeting with 2 other, associations tomorrow. And then we've got 3 more after that.
Okay, and what's the general consensus of the groups that you've already met with? If you can just sum it up for us in a sentence.
Well, I'll tell you what the consensus is. Excitement for restaurants. That's really.
Grocery.
No, the grocery store too, yeah, but, I mean, we hear in every single meeting, we hear we don't have enough
We
restaurants.
don't have restaurants at 34th Street.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or good ones. Right. So that is kind of far and away the biggest feedback we get is about the retail.
Retail will be great.
Yeah.
Retail, grocery, restaurant.
Yeah, yeah, that's the biggest feedback we get.
That's good.
Yeah, that's really just a good thing.
Yeah, yeah, we think so. And for us, it's an amenity for the whole property, right? So it's not necessarily,
Oh, it's an amenity for us as neighbors.
it's an amenity for the whole neighborhood, but I mean, we're trying to deliver a holistic product, right? So the whole 34 acres has to work, and then we're making it open to the public so that it's open to everyone.
Site H, is that the existing building, the Ceridian building that's there now?
That's the 3-story building that's there now.
Is that gonna stay?
Yes, we're gonna repurpose that. We're looking at different uses right now. We might use it as, storage for all these people. You know,
You're
it's
not
kind
having any
of,
office space, no office space?
you know, we've actually had office space for lease for the last year and a half, and we've had virtually no traffic.
Really?
Yeah, actually, we have tenants that wanna leave early. And those tenants are only paying like $16 a foot. I mean, they're not really clamoring for office space in suburban, areas.
In your portfolio, what's your largest, complex of apartments? Like, this is gonna be 1,800 apartments, what's your largest one, right now?
Now or in the past?
Well, yeah, what's, the elements?
That was 431. But that's all surface parked, so we were limited by what we could park. So since we're doing, structured parking, we can put more units in a smaller footprint.
So what's your largest right now?
Largest, right now, the largest we've ever done.
Right now?
So we had this is the largest one we have right now.
This will be the largest.
Yeah. Yeah. When you take all the phases together, I mean, almost every project we do is as big or bigger than each of the phases. And usually you only do one phase at a time, right? Because you buy an 8-acre property and you do 300 units, you buy a 10-acre property and you do 320, you know. So the largest project we've ever done was a 1,500 unit development in Miami. That one was condo, it was all residential with ground floor retail, in 3 phases, and that was 1,500 units. This will be the largest one we have in one location right now. So right now we have 417 units under construction in Fort Lauderdale. We have 280 units under construction in Jacksonville. We've got 320 units under getting governmental approvals in Pasco County. We've got a 200-unit project in Coral Gables in Miami. So we're kind of spread out throughout Florida.
When do you plan on breaking ground?
About a year from now.
Well, there's been a lot of questions about traffic. Having a grocery store on site is gonna be advantageous to slowing down some of this traffic because, you know, a lot of those people that live in that area are gonna go to that store. That would be a good thing. Having that grocery store on site.
Yeah.
So by the time they drive the public's down there, they're in 34th Street. they can go
Well,
to the
that's
shop.
one of the reasons that we wanted to have a grocer on site, because they're gonna have a captive market.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm looking at that as a big bonus. That's a good thing.
Yeah, we think it'll go both ways. It'll be good for the grocer and it'll be good for the people that live there.
Have these plans been finalized by the current department?
No.
Okay, so in other words, if I go down there and talk to them about your ingress egress, they've already done a traffic count, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, they told you that you are not required to put a turn lane in there for our development and their development, correct? I'm gonna put you on record on this. You're saying.
You can put me on record for whatever I say. So let me make clear.
You're not required to put a turn lane in there, that's gonna really affect us coming in and out of here.
Yeah, there has been no need for a turn lane brought up by any discussion we've had with anyone at the city, no.
So they have done the traffic counts, and they said it doesn't make any difference.
You're putting words in my mouth. I didn't say that they said what you said. I said that they didn't require a turning lane. I wanna be very clear about that. So when we showed them this plan, there was no discussion, there was no requirement, there wasn't even a suggestion that we should put in a turning lane on 37.
Who are you talking to down there? 'Cause I like you to talk to them.
I can't even name them all. The building department, the fire department, the engineering department, zone, land use and zoning, economic incentive, I mean, every department in the city we've spoken to. The city attorney, I mean, everybody.
Okay. Can I get a plan, can I get a copy of that,
As soon as we make our application, we're gonna send you guys a courtesy copy.
In about a couple of weeks, we're
about 2
going
weeks.
to get, some copies of the presentation and
And
then
you'll,
we'll make it available.
yeah, and you'll get a copy of exactly what we submit to the city.
Yeah, we'll make it available, it'll be on our website and, some of it, in our newsletters.
Yeah. Okay? Yeah.
As the project moves on, will you be coming here again to update us? Or is there plans to do that?
Sure. I mean, when we were in the Kenwood district, we had a 10-year relationship with all of our neighbors. So we had the Urban League across the street, we had ASPCA next door, we had Metro Communities, we had the Kenwood Historic District, and we saw each other all the time. We did joint events. So yeah, I mean, we're gonna be here for the better part of a decade, 8
So
years.
this isn't the only time we will see you?
No.
I lived in Skylines the entire time I owned the property.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm very familiar with the property. And towards the end, when you owned it and you were built out, there was definitely a downward trend of maintenance.
Well, we owned it,
I
or,
love living there.
well, we owned it or after we sold it?
Oh, it's when you sold, before you sold it,
Before we sold it.
yes. I'm hoping you learn from that experience and that you keep this area. Because it was a beautiful building, that building, unfortunately. It's-
Thank you, I think.
Most of my time there, I loved it.
Do I see a lot of street parking there? You say the parking is in the parking structure, but I saw all along Cardinal Avenue there to the
Yeah.
left.
So the reason we have this, well, go back to the top down view for a second. So the reason we have this parking,
And that's for your,
the reason we have this parking here is because we have retail here, and retail here, and retail here. That's why we have these.
along Altus Avenue and 36 and 35th,
Mhm.
you're showing, looks like parking.
Yes, well, that's parallel.
That's all parallel parking?
Yeah.
You can have the street filled with parallel parking also.
Yeah, off to the side. I mean, we have full roadways and then we have parallel parking next to it.
Why do you need all that street parking if you have the parking structure?
It's just for convenience, because if somebody wants to go into the leasing office, they don't wanna go up into
Well, I
the,
can understand by leasing.
or the retail. We wanna make sure that we can sufficiently park the retail. More parking is better than less parking. What you don't wanna have is inadequate parking, because then it spills over.
So how many parking parking stalls do you have in the parking structure for each building?
It depends on the building, but, we've
Is it
got
one and a
about.
half?
Huh?
Yes.
1.5?
No, greater than one.
At least.
Greater than 1.5. Yeah, we as developers wanna make sure that our parking is covered. We don't wanna have property parking.
No.
Because then it affects the marketability of our own property.
I have a question. When you complete this project,
Mhm.
and you have your units rented out and you've got all your retail and it's up and running, how long do you think it's going to be before you sell it or have someone manage it? You know, kind of what, she was talking about what happened with the property where she was.
Well, we always have somebody manage it. So we have a professional management company that is in charge of operating and maintaining. So we'll have that throughout.
Right.
And then if and when we sell it one day, then,
So I'm really talking about the sale, because it seems that that is some of what has occurred in the past, so is that kind of your MO? Is that what you've done, where you've developed properties and then you've held on to it and then you've sold it onto someone else? And what process are you utilizing in doing that? Because if you know, pick somebody that has a good reputation, then they're going to maintain the property and it's going to retain its value for the neighborhood that it's in. So can you
so
speak
for us,
a little bit about
for us,
that?
it's market driven. For example, we didn't have a target to sell it in 2021. But because of where the interest rate environment was in 2021 and where the cap rate environment was for making a sale, the market just dictated to us that was the time to sell. For example, if we were looking at it right now, where we have interest rates at 7%, we would never sell. Because we're not gonna sell at a discounted value.
But you do some research about that company, or you just really just trying to, you know, put some money in your pocket?
What we've seen is that anybody that buys at that level is gonna be a high-end operator, because you don't buy
Oh,
a
it's a
top
lot of
dollar.
property, yeah, that's
You don't
true.
buy a top dollar to run it into the ground. I mean, that would be kind of good.
Because that would be concerning to our development if it was sold down, you know, to someone, you know, years down the road and the property values went down, because that would affect everybody in this neighborhood.
Yeah, I think anybody that you ask in the Kenwood district would agree that all of the property values went up as a result of our redevelopment of that office park. We left the neighborhood a better place than we found it, no question.
And in that case, that particular building was, which are a little bit more dated, is actually getting renovated and putting money into right now. That one, so that purchaser is actually pouring more money into it and raising more property value.
The rumor was that you were gonna build condos, and they were gonna be really high-end that make our property a little more, like, you know, expensive also. And this is the first I've heard that it's a rental.
Let me dispel the rumors. We are apartment developers, and
Why
we're
don't you
building.
build condo? Why are you doing rentals?
Because-
There's so many in the area right now.
But the demand that we see in the demographics in this area is for rental, not for condo here. Now, if you had a condo building with a view of the water in downtown, it might be a different discussion, but
Different
not,
price
here.
range.
Yeah, not here.
Condos are so much better kept up. The people are
It
still
depends on the
able to
condo.
get-
We have a lot of problems in South Florida right now with condos that never took reserves for things that needed to be replaced, and now they're doing assessments. Now they're doing assessments for $100,000 because they have no reserves. That's a problem.
When you build to condo code or to, is there a difference?
There's not a difference.
It's the same, so you could condo, you could set these up and sell them to condo if you chose.
I mean, in theory, yes, but that's not our plan, and it's not been what our company is focused on.
But the building codes are the same.
Yeah, yeah. Same impact windows, same requirements of spacing in the bathroom for circulation, and same dimensions that are required in the kitchen, in front of the sink area. You know, everything, the windows and the operable windows and the ability to get air circulation, all those codes are the same, whether it's apartment or condo. Depends, we're gonna have 1s, 2s, and 3s. So, it's probably gonna be an average of about 900 square feet. Yeah. Which means we'll have, no, that's the average of all of them. So the 3 bedrooms will be 1,200 square feet, and we'll have 1 bedrooms in the 700 to 800 square foot range, and 2 bedrooms in the 950 to 1,100 square foot range.
Any more questions for Frank? No, I guess
Yes, sir.
I'm still asking the question I asked, right, about the company looking at our egress and regress